in the dark, I play my dreams. Permaculture flows like sweet streams. I'm the daddy with the know-how seed. Creating the world like it's meant to be. Permaculture, P-I-M-P, I'm the king. That's the love in everything. Bring a change, making it last. Join the permaculture.
Welcome to episode 347 of the Permaculture Pimpcast, where PIMP stands for Permaculture is my passion. The only pimpcast on planet Earth where we discuss permaculture, preparedness, and practical living.
Permaculture, P-I-M-P, with soulful rays. In a P-I-Pimpcast where we find our place.
Oh yeah, good to be here with y'all today. I want to give a shout out to everybody online right now. Yeah, we got a lot of folks out there. And if you would hit that thumbs up, tell everybody we're live so we can go ahead and start getting suppressed, because you know that's how they do things. All right, this episode, as always, brought to you by Hickory Ridge Soap from twooldcrowshomestead.com.
Turn that simp into a pimp.
Bam! Yeah, Soil Saviors. I was going to say Living Soil Foundation, but hey, now that I've already let the cat out of the bag, Soil Saviors was one of those backbone products, or the backbone product that we used in conjunction with our compost to get the ball moving in a big way. In fact, I kind of chronicled a little bit of it in the last video. Hopefully I can carve out some time to get over there this week and show you what that project looks like, because frankly, I don't even know. I haven't been over there in a month. But when we crossed that finish line, I basically told the owners, okay, ball's back in your court. So, but yeah, there's more. Oh man. Anyway, I won't get into that right now, but the bottom line is, look, man, if you want, yeah, I'll talk about it later, and why you want to be really cautious about what you give away in terms of everything, especially with some people out there that might have a welfare mindset. That's another story altogether. We've talked a little bit about it on here before. But anyway, Soil Saviors, if you want a box, check us out in the description box down below. William's testing it out right now on his end and giving it a shot. How's it going so far, son?
Good. You can't really tell any differences right now. It's still pretty early I didn't even start it until after I got back from Kentucky Sustainable Living and everything. But on the topic of Soil Saviors, aren't you doing a giveaway this week? Is it today or tomorrow or next episode?
No, we were going to do it today. And so truth is, I totally forgot about it. But we're going to do a giveaway near the end of this thing, if you remind me. So hopefully I've been believing there's a lot of squirrels up here right now, and I'm juggling a whole lot of balls. In fact, yeah, that could be misunderstood. But anyway, I was out there literally weed eating moments before I got in here. And so, folks, I mean, I'm like literally ran from the outside, hurry up, swallowed some of this dinner Michelle made, and came up here and got behind this microphone. But it's a good thing I prepped the show prior to that. So, it's not as if I'm going up here without having a good idea. But anyway, Soil Saviors down below. We're going to give away a 5-acre box tonight. That'll be later on in the show. And we'll see who the lucky winner is going to be.
And some of these. I have 3 of these to give away. Size large.
Why don't you wait till next week to give that away, son? Okay. So we don't just shoot it all. That way we can tell everybody it's going to happen. Yeah, I kind of screwed up. I should have put it in the description tonight. But for those of you that are in here, hey, you're going to have a better chance of winning. So, yeah. So, hey, hopefully no dumb stuff goes on like it did last time when I was in here interviewing. There was somebody tripping in the chat, and I don't even know what planet they were on. But anyway, Denise can't be here tonight, so don't start no SH and there won't be a no IT. William, you know the deal. If somebody's tripping, put them on the first thing smoking. My man Bill Zegley's in the house over there. Frank Family Homestead, Dana, K9 Girl, Sharon. Okay, those are the ones I see right now. I know a number have already gone by. But anyway, hit that thumbs up. Tell everybody we're live. All right, I'm going to jump right into it. Hey, I ain't going to kid you, son. We actually turned on the heat today.
I believe it. It got down to 68 last night in Texas.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally normal for the middle of summer, huh? Yeah. No, they're not spraying anything from the sky. No, they're not using these next rad towers. But we put on the freaking heat in August, in the beginning of August. I mean, we're in the dog days of summer. It's supposed to be hot outside. And I'm so well acclimated to the heat right now that when it got down into the 60s, man, I'm out here shivering because I mean, folks, if you don't know, I mean, I literally am wearing for most of the day, I have nothing on, and I mean nothing on. And I'm out here sweating, getting all that vitamin D, and yeah. So anyway,
hold on, Dad. You got to explain that because there's chances that nobody's heard the prior episodes, or somebody that hasn't heard the prior episodes where you give an explanation to that. Explain why you're walking around the homestead naked.
Oh, okay. Well, folks, look, I'm practicing what I preach, and I'm going to probably be covering some of it today. Look, I am trying. When you're darker, you need more vitamin D. And since I've been doing this, I'll be honest with you, a whole lot of things in me have gone away. And I didn't realize how dreadfully low my vitamin D levels were. And I thought, okay, just with the nature of the work I'm doing, well, like I had said before, everybody out there in the sound of my voice, get that app for your phone. It's called D-Minder. D-Minder. And in that app, it will tell you, how much you should get a day, whether you're going to burn, depending on your skin type. It's real simple. You can't really mess it up. And I heard about that from Dr. Alexis Cowan. So I said, okay, let me give it a shot. Man, I had no idea how low my levels were. Well, now that I've finally realized, okay, how much I should be doing and how long, well, the less clothes you have on, the more D you take in, which means the less you have to be out there, which means I can do other things. But there are other tasks I'm doing that maybe I'm in the barn, I'm not directly getting any sunlight. So anyway, I take off as much clothes as I possibly can to get as much vitamin D before they start spraying that garbage from the sky and blocking out the sun. Folks, there is a reason they're doing this. There's a reason why they're spraying all these particulates up there, a lot of aluminum, barium, strontium, all those things. But in addition to that, and the nanobots that they got up there, yeah, they got those too. In addition to what they're spraying up there, they're also blocking out the sun, eliminating your ability or basically constricting your ability to make the necessary vitamin D you need to fight this stuff off. So folks, I have turned into something of a biohacker, and I'm actually I'm walking the walk and talking the talk. And that means walking around here naked half the time. So any of you people like that neighbor next door, you want to fly that drone over here, you'll be getting some vitamin D of your own. And I ain't talking about the one coming from the sun. Yeah, you get over here, you'll be getting a Loch Ness sighting, Jack. So yeah, be careful where you're flying that drone. Anyway, I mean, let him do it again. I'm going to shoot that thing. I'll be walking around with that shotgun, and I'll be knocking that thing right out of the sky. So yeah, I couldn't even believe. I mean, thinking he's funny, you're flying your drone over here. Well, it's over my airspace, Jack. I will shoot it down. But anyway, I hadn't worried about that in a while. But anyway, that's why I'm walking around here. And that's why I had on Logan in last episode, folks, to talk about this stuff, because these are the things that really don't cost us a whole lot of money. Off the rope.
off the top rope.
Hey, just keeping it real, Bill. Just keeping it real. So anyway, turned on the heater, so I didn't realize it was that cold in Texas. Other things going on around here. Got the sheep in the orchard, which I've never done before, and they're doing a bang-up job. I mean, a really, really awesome job. Now, they're all the comfrey that we have down there. They've basically clipped every single bit of it, which is cool. That's fine. But they've also pruned all the trees, and that was a short I put out today on YouTube and also on X. So these guys are doing all the pruning up to about 40 inches. And that's how I'm pulling myself away to be able to do more with less by allowing my animals to inhabit some of these spaces to get some of this work done for me. So that's really the idea there. So they're out in the orchard. Plus, it was a really good experiment. Now, the young blueberries, I messed up and I didn't cover one of them up, boy, and they did a number on that thing. So don't know if it's going to make it, but I will be paying attention next time. So that's the one area that I do have to cover. And if you're not careful, folks, if you do that, remember, put some guards up the tree. They may girdle your bark if the tree is young enough. They have been known to do that sort of thing. So other things I got going on. I started this new breathing course, and it's from a guy named Erwin LaCour. And I heard about him from Dr. Jack Cruz. His name is Erwin LaCour, Lacorre. He's a French dude. And it's I'd been into the Wim Hof breathing method and all these other things. And Jack Cruz had said, well, this guy, what he's doing is light years better than Wim Hof. I said, okay, let me give it a shot. So I've been doing it, and I am already convinced this thing is really the cat's meow. So that's another little course I'm on to right now. And folks, I can't reemphasize enough, man. The chemtrails are worse now than they were under Biden. Okay, look up. Go to X, for crying out loud. There are people that didn't have a word to say about it before, well-known people. Now all of a sudden they're even talking about it. They're doubling down on whatever it is they're doing, and they don't care that we care. So so folks, just stay alert, stay alive, and I'm trying to drop everything I possibly can and get anybody on this show to help you protect yourself and your family in these times. And part of that is deep breathing. Part of that is grounding. Part of that is getting a lot of sun. So folks, I'm gonna dispense with everything I know as often as I can. Other things going on around here. I've noticed that the pollinators have kicked up. We did one honey harvest already, and we got more in that one harvest than we typically get in an entire year. So on that one harvest alone, I think we got 17 gallons, and we still got another harvest to go. So that is fantastic. And I think part of it is, believe it or not, folks, getting back to nature by allowing, instead of using the weed eater and allowing the sheep to do what they do. Guess what? They're leaving all the heads of the flowers out there. They're going to eat what they want, but by and large, your weed eater is getting rid of everything. When these guys eat, there's also a enzyme in their mouth that acts like a cauterizing agent for, let's say, a burn, but it works that way on the plants. So there's this symbiosis where the plant feeds the ruminant, but at the same time, the ruminant is offering an enzyme to help the plant regrow. So when you do that, you will see a bigger difference than when you let your animals do it, as opposed to using a mechanical means. So if you can, do that, because they're going to leave back all those flowers out there. And I've never seen so many pollinators in my life. Even though you go up and down the road and you have no bugs on the windshield, I think everybody's noticing that right now. But here on this farm, I've never seen so many pollinators. I mean, parasitic wasps.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. I didn't even think about that, because I do consultations, so I'm on the road a lot, and I rent like vehicles a lot. And whenever I get the vehicle, like, I always pay attention. Like, when I get the vehicle, the windshield is always clean. And for some reason, I don't know why, it's like a fun thing to do, to just like check the windshield after the road trip is done and see how many bugs you collected along the way. I don't know why I do that. It's just a weird thing that I've been doing. But the past couple trips I've taken, like this last trip where I was all over, I went up to northern Michigan, all the way, or not northern, but like mid Michigan, all the way to Kentucky. I was all over the place, and I had barely any bug accumulation at all. Like, it wasn't an issue to look out of the front windshield at all. Now, David Zimmerman, I was up there doing a consultation for him up in Michigan, and he's also asking, like, how do I get one of those shirts? It's Eric's website, right?
Yeah, Eric Sider. We got it linked in the show notes.
Okay, cool. But yeah, I haven't seen. There's definitely been a change in bugs.
No, there's not a change, son. Let's be honest here. It's an extinction. Well, that's what a lot of people are thinking right now. But right here at Billy's Jungle Palace of Love, I've never seen more pollinators in my life. I'm talking parasitic wasps. And folks, I know people freak out when you see a wasp. Look, 9 out of 10 of them, in fact, 10 out of 10 of them are really, really awesome. Son, you want to tell them what these people see okay, obviously you see a bumblebee, you're going to think, okay, that's not bad. We got bees, butterflies, wasps, every kind of wasp you can think of, yellow jackets, which, man, if there's a use for them, I know there is one, but I just hate it. Because every time you run across one of those guys, man, they hit you like nut. And then you kill one, they put out the pheromones, tell the other ones, hey, boys, I bit it. And he's the guy that did it. And they all get you. So, yeah. And yellow jackets hurt more than anything, man. But anyway, son, you want to tell them about parasitic wasps and why they're so beneficial in your garden and homestead?
I mean, they do a ton of things. They're pollinators for one, so they can do the same job that some of the bees are doing. Not as good, but they're still good at it. They also like kill some of the like the pests and stuff that might be attacking your garden. That's their main diet is that. And then also if you have figs, I believe it's with the fig, like a wasp actually goes and pollinates figs and then dies within the fig, and then like the fig uses it as some sort of nutrition. I'm pretty sure it's a fig. It might be something else, but like there's a special relationship between figs and wasps. In fact, when I was at the demonstration site the other day picking figs for the baby, like I picked one fig and it came with a wasp, and it wasn't even angry. It didn't even attack me or anything like that. Despite my reaction to picking a fig with a wasp on it, it still didn't sting me or anything. But yeah, the wasps are, as much as they're kind of a pain to deal with, typically I've noticed your red wasps don't seem to be really causing any issues. The one that I picked up yesterday was a black one with blue legs. That didn't create any issues. It seems like the biggest issues are the freaking yellow jackets by far. Like I sprinted like 2.5 acres to get away from them, and they were still following me.
Yeah, they will light you up like nothing, and they got those ground nests, man. Those are like the scourge, and you just wish there was a way to not have those. But I know there's a role for them. But anyway, we got pollinators like nothing I've ever seen, but it seems to be only here. And anyway, one of the cool things I'll just tell this little wasp story. There's one of them. They will actually lay their eggs. I mean, this is like straight out of Alien, that one movie out of the 80s, man. They lay their eggs inside these caterpillars and some of the other bugs out there that are not beneficial for you. And then they pop out of the doggone Yeah, this is disgusting, but hey, this is how it works, man. They grow up inside the doggone host. That's where they had to get that idea for Aliens. And they go popping out of there, and okay, garden saved. Anyway, when I see all these pollinators out here, it's telling me we're doing good things. And I think it has a lot to do with putting up the weed eater. Now, there are times I got to use it, like right now. I mean, there are, instances where you can't get your animals in there. Just, you got to cover something up. And that's what I was doing right before I came live. But anyway, putting up that weed eater, man, I've never seen so many pollinators in my life. They are absolutely in, and we've never had so much honey in our lives. So we got a lot going on out here. And yeah, so I'm going to keep experimenting with these sheep right now. Man, I got a couple of, the food force is not a little, but a lot overgrown because we're still catching up in other areas. I think I'm going to put the sheep in there and just see what they do. Man, I can't believe how well they're cleaning up a lot of the areas that I just frankly could not get to. I mean, I just couldn't. There's just not enough of you to go around to do everything that needs to be done. But anyway, these guys are getting it done. Other things going on the farm, rain daily. It's raining right now. It's been raining every single day. And sure is curious how none of it seems to be forecasted out there. So let's see here. Other, harvesting stuff. We got potatoes out here coming out of our eyeballs. I can't wait to get that one done. We've could have got them last week, at least in one area, and we still haven't done it. But we've the Cherokee purple tomatoes came through. Those are my favorite tomatoes, and we made some BLTs the other day. And the basil. So we made that tomato, that one that your mom makes somewhere. She puts the tomato, the basil, and then the that real good mozzarella, and then stacks it up a little bit high.
Caprese.
And then covers it up. Caprese salad. And then covers it up with some of that balsamic vinegar, that highfalutin stuff, man. So yeah, it's that time of year. So it tastes like summer, just doesn't feel like summer right now. So anyway, son, sorry to go on so long. What's going on your end of things?
So today, I survived almost 3 different car accidents while I was in Texarkana. So the first one, I'm driving to Office Depot I have a bunch of colored stuff that I need to get printed off. So I go to Office Depot to get that printed. And then as I'm on that access road off of I-30, there's this lady that swerved. She's right behind me. We're about to take the same exit to go to Office Depot, or I didn't know that at the time, but she swerves. She gets in the other lane, speeds up past me, cuts back into my lane, and then like locks up the brakes right in front of me to make this turn. because now she's going 65 miles an hour in a 45-mile-an-hour zone. And so I had to slam on my brakes and swerve out of the way just to miss this dummy. That's number one. That's on the way to Office Depot. Number two is as I'm walking out of Office Depot, I'm in a yellow crosswalk area that's like 8 to 10 feet wide. That's on a blacktop. Like, you can't miss this area. And I'm wearing a green shirt at the time. So like the background is concrete or black, and I'm wearing a bright green shirt. I see this lady in this Buick that comes, she didn't even breathe on the brakes as she's making this turn. She comes flying through, and like I'm halfway in the road and she just like barely misses me. And I'm just standing there like, what is this? Like, not even enough time to really even move or react or try to figure out what's going on. The lady didn't even look up. She like didn't even know that I was there, I don't think. And then I looked down the way and she's pulling into Chick-fil-A. So yeah, she was in a hurry to get that chicken or something. And then attempt number three, or yeah, I'm saying attempt as if they're hunting for me or something, but attempt number three is I'm getting on to I-30. I'm still in Texarkana. I'm getting on to I-30. And this dude, like, he slams on his, it could have been a dude or a woman, I don't know. They had long hair. But he slams on his brakes, and I swerve out of the way to get past him so I don't wreck. And as I'm driving by, I'm realizing this lady or dude is eating fries, and I'm sure that had something, eating fries and smoking a joint at the same time. And I'm sure that has something to do with why they slammed on their brakes on the on-ramp on I-30. And then I get past them, and then I get back over in the lane, and I'm like going fast enough to make sure that this dummy doesn't get in front of me again. And then we make it down the way a little bit. I'm going towards Hooks, and I'm passing the Hooks exit, and then all of a sudden this car comes flying by me. And I'm like, oh crap, how this like this person teleported again. And then as this person is in front of me, I see them like almost side swiping like semis, like pushing. There's this other lady that she almost pushed off the road. The only reason people didn't get into a wreck is because people were like paying attention to what this lady was doing. Yeah, multiple attempts. It's one of two times I've ever called the cops about somebody's driving before. The first time was an Indian dude driving this semi on I-40 just in between Jackson and Memphis, and he was for sure going to kill somebody. He was like falling asleep, like going from one shoulder to the other shoulder, and everybody gave him like 100-yard distance on either side, in the front and back. And then this time was this lady who's like, I don't know if she was doing it on purpose or if she just wasn't paying attention, but she was trying to run everybody off the road or cause some sort of accident, like getting in front of them and then slamming on the brakes on I-30. Texarkana is about to win a Darwin Award before too long. These people are insane. No wonder the, liability is 3 times what full coverage is in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Like, insurance is insane.
Yeah, I remember when we first moved there, our insurance went up 3 times just by moving to Texas. And then it went down 3 times moving away from Texas. I had an apprentice when I was there, and he bragged about the fact of all the car wrecks he was in. And I was like, I mean, I didn't even bother scolding him. I'm like, okay, if you think, I've just never in my life met more people that thought it was cool to drive like a complete idiot. And I've often said, and this isn't always the case because I got a big truck too, but I've often said the bigger the truck, the bigger the idiot. And that honestly does fit in that part of East Texas. I mean, no doubt about that. These idiots, I've never seen anything like it. And idiotic fatalities. I mean, and you think about it. I mean, a vehicle can be a vehicle or a freaking projectile, depending on who's behind that wheel. And that's why my number one pet peeve on planet Earth is bad drivers, is inconsiderate drivers. You know what? That's why I'm not going to cry any tears with all these people that are wrapping up and putting on the first thing smoking back to Mexico, because I ain't ever, I mean, they will sit here and shake you down for the change in your pocket. These cops are so bad, that bad in East Texas. I'm not joking. But you sit here and you drive through someplace like Dallas, and every illegal is driving on the shoulder. You've never seen crazier driving like what you see in Texas. I mean, it is absolutely insane, but you know, they'll pull you over for, you know, not having been late on your inspection, but they let these people drive like it's like nothing I've ever seen before.
Dallas has the worst freaking drivers. I did a consultation on the other side of Dallas for me. On the way back, it started raining. All the way up to Dallas, no accidents. Going through Dallas, 5 accidents. All the way from Dallas to my house, no more accidents. It's the same doggone rain. It's just different location. And that's what determines, man, deport them all. I don't care if they're American or not. Deport all of them. Every bad driver gets sent to, where should we send them, Dad?
Well, you know what? I really don't care, but honestly, I think the penalties, because honestly, it's bad enough that you don't care about your life, but the fact that you don't care about everybody else's life is another matter altogether, because now it's not in your hands, my hands, or anybody else. And these idiots, we're going to lose the topic here if I don't keep on. But anyway.
Well, hold on. I got more farm news. On just to wrap up farm news, it's not all bad. I've been harvesting a bunch of figs, and the garden that I paid no maintenance, no attention to, all I did was focus on the soil biology, is blowing up. I've got, when those watermelons start growing, we're going to have problems. We're going to have, like, they're already growing the melons, but once they're ready to harvest, we're going to have way too many watermelons. All the squashes, those are blowing up. We're cooking some of the squash here tonight on the grill. Zucchini's blowing up. Cucumber is doing all right. The corn, I only planted like a small area of corn because that's all the seeds I had. Part of planting that garden was getting rid of some of the old seeds I had. But the only thing that did not germinate and did not do well was the beets. Those were the only things. And I'm going to start germinating those, like, what was that?
That's a little late for beets, son.
Oh, yeah, no, there's nothing correct about the garden other than the soil. Yeah, there's nothing done correctly in that garden. I want to see what I can get away with good biology. I planted sweet potatoes, like, what, 3 months late or something? Like, I was super late. I'm going to be losing sweet potatoes to frost if we have, like, the average frost days this year. But I want to see what I can get away with. Like, I want to see how strong, just focusing on soil biology, I want to see how much you can get away with it. And it should make everything easier for people.
Yeah, Steve in the comments is saying Steve's DIY project. Sorry, I missed a lot of comments in here, folks. He says, I've been thinking to add nematodes. What do you think about that?
I would say don't waste money on it. Like, the only way I would add nematodes to my garden, let's say I get a soil biology test done, or I test it myself, and I notice I need more nematodes. Either you can just wait a little bit, and then you might be catching it in a weird fluctuation, and then the predators will come. Or what you can do is, if you have homemade compost, you can cut a potato in half, put it on top of your compost, and let it sit for like 1 to 3 days or something like that. And then you take your potato and you scrape off the slime that's on that cut surface, and then you can dilute that with water, and then you can spray it on your garden. And then you basically attracted the nematodes to your potato, and then you scraped it off, and then you suspended them in water, and then you can drench your soil that way if you wanted to. But I wouldn't buy any.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I mean, if you put in the right biology, if you just worry about putting in good biology, they will come. But just remember, I think the life cycle of a nematode is about 21 days, whereas bacteria, I can't remember how quickly they're reproducing. Bacteria and fungi do it relatively fast. But of all the life cycles out there, of the things that are in your soil, nematodes are one of the longer ones. So if you give them time, they'll come. So I'm with William. I don't think you necessarily need to go ahead and do a nematode extraction. You can do that if you already got it. But honestly, the way things are these days, I'm not even trusting that they put the right nematodes in there.
Well, that's a good point. Because if they're putting in the wrong nematodes and you don't have the prey for those nematodes, then they're going to switch on you and start eating roots. So, like, you got to be careful. And they're probably not including a high enough diversity of nematodes in whatever packet you would buy.
Right. Your soil, just like Bill says there, if you build it, they will come. If you just put the right things in there, these guys, if you make good compost, don't worry, they're going to show up. I mean, they will show up. And then the top predators, your worms, before you know it, you'll have those guys too. If you doubt me, I mean, just look under an old carpet. Go out there to any place where lay down a bunch of cardboard, get it wet, come back and check it in a month. What are you going to see under there? You're going to see a bunch of worms. You see worms, that means you got top predators out there. Worms are basically the lions in the soil kingdom for the most part, depending on how high you go. But the point being, is when you see worms, that tells you it's a pretty good indication that you probably have the other things below there, because you can't have a top predator unless you have its prey. So nematodes are one of the higher predator, or one of the higher predators. All right, before I get into the to other stuff, just one little thing out there. So just a little side note, and some people think by sending me emails telling me that bad talking Trump or whatever else is going to lose me my base. Folks, let me just tell you right off, my base is the Constitution. Okay, if you're with that, then I'm with you. If you're not with that, then we can be friends. But and then when somebody's not doing something in accordance to the Constitution, or you're doing something that is repugnant to American life, well, I'm going to speak up about that too. So look, folks, I've said it from the very beginning, from the time we started this channel, I'm not worried about getting, if I wanted 1 million subscribers, I know exactly what I have to do to get it done. I'm not worried about that. I'm looking for the right ones. And a lot of you out there right now, and the ones who listen, and we're blowing up absolutely, especially in the audio platforms, because we're not suppressed there. So here in the YouTube and the other places where we're broadcasting live, of course, they're going to suppress us to a certain point. But you telling me that saying so, okay, if Trump does something good, I will. Funny how when Biden was in there, when I was coming down like a ton of bricks on him, nobody said anything. But now all of a sudden, I start touching their Lord and Savior Trump, and all of a sudden people are coming out of the woodworks. Well, how do you defend this one? Trump to withhold disaster funding for states and cities that boycott Israel. You got this massive delegation over there right now bowing at the Wailing Wall, which somebody should tell them that that's not actually it's not actually the old temple you're bowing at. It was part of Herod's. Look, I won't get into the history of all that, but the point being, you're going to tell me, I mean, you can sit here and burn the American flag and get away with it, but you burn Israel's flag and they want to put you in jail. You can criticize, call any American a SOB, blah, 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 blah. Nothing happens, but you say something against Israel and they come down on you like a ton of bricks. Look, this is repugnant to American life, and I'm going to speak up about it. And I don't care what the consequences are. So I'm seeing
it's more than that. It's more than that. It's not just repugnant to American life. This is repugnant to a life. Like, this is an argument between like people who want death and people who want life. That's the argument. This isn't like American life versus Iranian life or anything like that. This is just life and death. That's the argument.
Yeah, but to sit here, and your mom pointed out something, because the first thing out of her mouth was, when I told her about this, first thing she says, "Oh, just in time for hurricane season, huh?" I mean, that was the first thing that popped out of her mouth. And I was like, wow, I didn't think about that. Smart and beautiful all at the same time. But the point being is, you're going to tell me that if a city decides, okay, yeah, we don't like what's going on over there in Israel, we don't like what's happening in Gaza, we don't like this, we don't like that, or whatever, then all of a sudden they get hit by a hurricane that, hit North Carolina last year. And all of a sudden, you're not going to get any funding from the feds, even though they stole that money through taxes in the first place. You're telling me you're not going to give it back to these people as contingent on whether or not. I mean, I don't even know what planet am I living on anymore, folks. I'm getting so pissed off by the day, by what's happening. You got these people bowing at this Wailing Wall. We got homegrown problems right here, and they got a delegation over there kissing their butt. I am beyond sick of it. And I think a lot of you out there, I think we need one giant tax revolt. I think people ought to just say, screw it. I ain't paying nothing. I ain't getting nothing. You know what? I'll put the money in escrow. I'm going to hang on to it. I'm going to keep the interest on this money. Not that you're going to make much these days, but I think you understand the point. The bottom line is, when I saw this, I was like, okay, are people going to wake up? I mean, there's nothing that's going to wake up most boomers. Let's be honest here, folks. I'm not trying to pick on boomers or anything, but I've never seen a population of people that, okay, so Trump, he's not going to tax your Social Security. Well, guess what? It shouldn't have been taxed in the first place. So they're not going to say anything, and they're not going to say anything regardless. I've never seen a population in general, because I know there are some out there that are well awake, that will not wake up no matter what. No amount of evidence can shatter a faith consciously based on a lie. And by the way, that was a first-class charlatan that said that. But anyway, I thought I'd go ahead and put that out there, y'all, because the things that are happening daily, whether it's giving $500 billion to a bunch of oligarchs who want to put us in digital prisons from the first day in office to the things that are going on, and the list is long. I mean, do I need to come out with a long, comprehensive list of all the things we were told going to happen? Epstein list, nothing. Fauci, nothing. There's a whole long list that you know what? I'm not going to get into it. I just wanted to put that one out there. I didn't know if folks knew about it because it was relatively fresh information. So, yeah, you don't get any disaster funding if you boycott Israel. This is just outrageous. I mean, we're America first. I mean,
you can take some solace in knowing that they weren't going to get the disaster funding anyway, Dad. Like, if it wasn't for, honestly, if it wasn't for y'all, like you guys in the comments or in the watching the channels and stuff like that, if you guys weren't willing to donate and help out with that, North Carolina would still be in the same position it's in now. Look at the government cleanup areas, and then look at the private volunteer clear up areas. Like, you guys are the only reason North Carolina came together at all and has any kind of repairs. It's because of the private sector, not FEMA. FEMA wasn't doing anything. FEMA couldn't look up from their phone long enough to answer questions.
You know what? You're bringing up a really good point there, son. And, to this day, folks, I can take you right now to places where there are 20-foot debris piles out there. Still 20-foot debris piles, but we got money to go over here and send to Ukraine. We got money to send to Israel. Meanwhile, grandma and grandpa are out there suffering. We got all these folks. We got veterans on the street. We were told Russian collusion hoax. Okay, people are going to go to jail for that. Nothing. January 6th, nothing. Mar-a-Lago raid, nothing. Biden auto pen, nothing. 2020 election, they're talking a big game, but ain't done nothing. How about the Epstein pedophile arrest? Nothing. COVID, Benghazi, Doge findings, all of this. Ukraine impeachment. Folks, it's all of the above, and still nobody cares. So you know what? Eisenhower spoke extensively. In fact, it's written right on the walls of the VA Medical Center in Leavenworth, Kansas, what Eisenhower said. What happens to societies that engage in this kind of that go down this route? I won't repeat it here now, but basically, history basically does not long entrust freedom to idiots. I'm paraphrasing it, but that's essentially what he said there. So yeah. Anyway, Redemption Shield, 10% off with promo code PERMA. Remember, when I do this show, I'm G'd up from the feet up, and that means grounded. So if you want a Redemption Shield grounding mat or any of the other things they sell over there, PERMA will get you 10% off. Wave Watch. Yeah, I got one for my daughter-in-law. She probably wears it pretty regular. I wear mine. I wore it today when I had to go to town to go drop off some packages. And folks, I'm telling you, that thing has a lot of settings on there, although I kind of stay around 2 or 3 of them, but there's 1,000 of them on there for all the things that might help you, whatever's ailing you. I'm going to try to switch it up and play with this thing, but honestly, I love what it does. And when I find, it's like when I go to a restaurant and I find something I like, I usually get it every single time. So it's the same thing with that.
Dad he doesn't talk down about the watch. He just doesn't give you guys a full understanding of what this watch can do. He uses it for like anxiety when he's going out in public and stuff like that. There was like an arterial tear that somebody healed using the watch that we talked about. Was it last Tuesday, maybe? Like my wife is using it for like ovarian cyst. Like there's a lot of different things. There's a laundry list of things that you can use this Wave Watch for that it will help with more than just anxiety.
Yeah, if it's going to keep you from going upside somebody's head, well, that's probably a good thing. Anyway, Billy 100 will get you $100 off Wave, WAV with no E, watch. Okay, coming up, East Tennessee Homestead Alliance Festival. That's going to be September 12th and 13th in Knoxville, Kentucky. So I'm going to be there, and a number of others are going to be there. Hopefully, I'll see a lot of you out there as well. So good news. All right. Oh, let's see here. Yeah. I got my good news. I got to pop it up here. Okay. Embracing playfulness. That's the surprising key to adult well-being that apparently folks just discovered. So if you can go out there, play with your grandkids. I mean, I'm like, okay, I don't need to be told this. So why am I sitting here reading it? Because honestly, we forget about it. And I'm one of them. Is I get so tied up in what I'm doing a lot of times that I forget to laugh. I mean, people like Ed Milet actually factor in times in their days where they actually spend time laughing. So I was thinking about maybe downloading I have some podcasts that are more on the lighter end of things, but I was thinking about maybe downloading some comedy skits or whatever and, try to spend some time laughing. So I figured I'd kind of pass that on because I'm like, man, spend a lot of time taking a lot of deep stuff during each day, but also I spend a lot of time, in the word, like, I'm the way the crazier things get, the more time I'm trying to get my prayer life. Look, every time I sit down, I drink at least 1.5 gallons of water every single day. So one of the little tacks that I use, and I told my Bible study group this, is one of the ways I try to keep my prayer life on point is making absolutely sure that every single time I drink water, I get down on my knees and I pray. So every single time. So that's like tightening up my prayer life by doing a function that I got to do I got to drink water. So that's one little hack that I've gone to change things up, but also trying to find those times to put in some areas where I'm actually laughing, because I do take in, to prep this show and to do a lot of things and to stay up on things. You're taking a lot of awful things that are not necessarily wonderful. And like Skane's girl says, yeah, laughter is the best medicine. But frankly, for a person that engages in, a fair amount of comedy sometimes, man, I don't do it often enough. But that's one of the reasons why I love doing this show, because I can kind of, scratch that itch a little bit. All right, so here's another one. Study: beetroot juice may hold the key to healthier aging. So there's so many wonderful things in beets. And one of the things I did, and I thought I'd share this hack with y'all, is when we had our beet harvest come in a little earlier, I freeze dried them and I made a powder out of them. And then you can stick them in your smoothie. You can stick them in whatever you drink. Just stick them in water if you want to. So, I mean, so many things, vasodilation. There's so many wonderful things in beets.
It's one of the main ingredients for that cardio miracle, isn't it?
Yes. Eric Sider was the one that actually told me about it. There's people that make, if you were to just get beetroot powder, I mean, there's a lot of people that are using that to help. But honestly, I'm trying to eat as local as I possibly can, and everything on the farm I'm trying to use in some capacity or another. Now, yeah, those beets, man, I was eating in those salads every single day. And right now, with whatever's coming through, like we got cucumbers coming out of our eyeballs. Your mom made pickles out of them. And she, instead of just making regular pickles, she fermented them, pickled, like legit fermented these things.
I bet she did.
Yeah. So I've been eating those things like crazy. And she's made cucumber salad. Like, I don't know how many different kinds of cucumber salads, but we're eating what we grow. As we do. And so that's one of the things we are absolutely positively working on. So the last one here, and this is my favorite, this is going to make my day, but it ain't going to happen. But I'm going to say it anyway because it is an article. Hillary Clinton could face life term in prison for treason. Okay, let that happen. You want to see somebody, I will run through town naked if that ever happens, but it ain't going to happen. It is never going to happen. But anyway, I thought there was a town fair where they had this Hillary Clinton lookalike they had her in like a wagon in like a jail cell and with a yellow uniform on, and they were using it during a parade. So I thought it was funny.
And they all got drone striked.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no kidding. Yeah. But I mean, like I listed it earlier, y'all. I mean, I'm not seeing any justice. Nobody else is either. And it seems by and large, nobody cares. And in fact, history shows that when you get a society that engages in this level of depravity, well, usually starvation is the only thing that cures it. All right. With that said, y'all, we're going to go to my man, Eric Sider.
Hey, Eric Sider here with your Pimpcast tip of the day. Today's tip: developing local villages for global impact. Quality, ethical real estate development is much needed. And this can be accomplished by designer groups partnering the financiers and project managers to create villages and climate refuges for urban people. Villages should be developed to provide clean food, clean energy, efficient shelter, self-reliance, employment, and surplus production, as well as offering non-material needs like education, community cooperation, conservation, and recreation. These things are easier to achieve in groups of 30 to 100 houses rather than individually. With appropriate land, motivated investors, and careful planning, small, ethical villages can be established. Sites for village development can be anything from a block of urban properties to abandoned villages to new landscapes, but there are many preliminary criteria for these sites: water availability, clean energy potential, transportation, communication, and markets. Village development begins with forming a group that finds and buys a site, and after that, the development project, including detailed plans and estimates, needs to be approved so that the property can be sold to buyers. Finances should be put into 2 trusts, one dedicated to risk-free investments, schools, community structures, roads, forestry, and one to investments in trade and leasing. The size of village populations, the ideal being 300 to 500, will change the village's ability to provide its needs and the population's ability to know each other socially. Self-reliant villages need to provide land, infrastructure, clean water, sewage, production, and commerce, as well as things like campsites, reception areas, and workshops. Life, work, and recreation should be in the plan, as should food, forests, and energy efficiency. The maintenance of all of this can be financed with the sale titles from the village trusts, levies on properties, and a tithing from business. Villages can be designed ethically. It's entirely possible to set up 100% waste recycling that provides benefits to the community, and customers can sort their waste for pickup on specific days, with all organics going to compost and other waste providing jobs. After several years, villages may become financially self-reliant, and once their needs, healthy food, small luxuries, money to travel, community are met, they can then use extra money to help others, including other upstart village developments. Rather than being governed by boards, small working groups of volunteers can band together and perform necessary tasks for the community, and these groups of a shared ethic to the basic betterment of the community won't require meetings and uninvolved approval. The most successful villages establish interdependence, simplicity, and mutual contribution, whether it is financial or meaningful labor. You can find me on YouTube and Instagram at Eric Sider. If you're in need of permaculture t-shirts or remote permaculture consultation and design, head over to ericsider.com. And for those in the Sacramento area, check out my permaculture community group, permaculturefairoaks.org.
Bam, that's my dog. If you need any of those shirts, like the one William has on right now, or even the one I have on right now, it's a little bit faded. You can go to, we'll have a link down below. Eric makes all those shirts. So, Kevin, speaking of village, Kevin said, hey, Bonds, he was driving through Asheville a few days ago. Yeah, Kevin, too bad you didn't stop over, man. You were seeing some village idiots all through that place because, man, there are some whack jobs running around there, bro. I hope you didn't stay long, bro. You'd have lost a couple of IQ points just rolling through. Hey, well, son.
Jakob is too young to experience Asheville just yet.
Oh, man. I saw a dude. I saw a guy, honestly, this was last year about this time, I guess. I know it was summer. Went out there, stripped down all of his clothes in the middle of an intersection. And I'm like, what do you do with this? I mean, he didn't have nothing on. There was another dude crab walking while peeing at the same time. I mean, not all of Asheville's like this, but man, you definitely find some freakazoids around there. And there's a whole
Emily
lot
and
of Satanists.
Yeah, Emily and I were downtown. This was when she was pregnant. We were downtown eating something or trying a new restaurant or something, and they had like the park down in the middle of Asheville with the right next to the Vance Monument. There were a bunch of like naked women just like walking around like topless, and they would have all gotten fines in France. Those nude beaches where they find the people who shouldn't be naked, they would have all gotten fines. Yeah, every single one of them. Just in the middle of the city, there were kids walking around.
Yeah, that's Yeah. So if the fire and brimstone comes down, man, I hope this ain't. Well, hopefully I'm far enough away from it. All right. So EMP Shield, y'all, $50 off with promo code PERMA. So if anything goes stupid in this world, which you heard my predictions for 2025, and some folks have reached out wondering what show that was. I really don't know, folks. You'll have to go back. I think it's titled 2025 Predictions. Things are probably going to get weird this year. Not probably. I will bet money on it. And maybe even before this month is out. Now, I have some opinions as to what that might be, but I'm not going to say it right now. Talked about it before, so I'm not going to go down. But anyway, if one of them just happens to be, EMP, well, you want to be protected. So EMP Shield, $50 off with promo code PERMA. They got stuff for your house, car, bedroom, and boudoir. They got it all. So anyway, EMPshield.com, $50 off with promo code PERMA. Now, I titled this one, You Can't Eat Bitcoin, What Real Preparedness Looks Like. Here's why I'm going in a backdoor way of something that we've kind of discussed in the past, and I felt like we had to cover it again because every time I'm in the company of a bunch of people that are in the preparedness mindset, I just don't even know how to process a lot of the mindset that's going on there. Now, folks, my family started in the preparedness before we ever got into permaculture. And there was a reason why I left those environments, because you would always have the same, it was like a social suck up session. It wasn't people that were at all, I would say 95% of the people I knew were not at all serious legitimately about preparedness. It was a club. It was a fad, kind of like homesteading for a lot of people out there these days. It was a fad. They weren't at all serious about it. For them, it was a way for some of these guys, they were escaping their spouses, or gals, it could have been the same thing. And other ones were just looking for any kind of community. And you had your fair share of weirdos. And you had some good people out there too. One of the things that has always driven me crazy is that within these enclaves, you'll find you'll find that one person that says, okay, the answer to everything in terms of preparedness is gardening. Then you'll find another person, and he's just into his bug out vehicle, but he doesn't understand anything about gardening, doesn't have weapons. And then you'll have another guy who's into weapons, but can't garden. And it'll be a lot of times those same guys that will say, well, you say, hey, well, you thought about gardening? You thought about getting some animals, systems, orchard? Oh, no, I got a gun. I'll get what I need. Okay, well, that tells me everything I need to know about your mindset. So you're the person I will definitely avoid. And I don't want to be anywhere near if things go not when things go sideways. I think it's a foregone conclusion at this point. It's just a matter of timing. I don't know when it is. Nobody does. Well, somebody does, but it ain't me. Anyway, it's this full spectrum of preparedness that was totally lacking. Some, would you agree with that? In a lot of the preparedness circles we used to run in Kansas and Missouri back in the day?
Yeah, most of the guys that are into preparedness, it seems more often than not, like the women take preparedness way more seriously than the guys do. Like once they enter the realm, it's like the guys are thinking like, oh, look at all these different toys and tools and guns and stuff that I can buy. And then the women are thinking like, okay, food. Okay, I'm on medication. My husband's on medication. Let's start stocking those up. Believe it or not, it seems like the women take this a more logical route than the men do. Like if you have, let's say, 10 different skills that you need to learn, like number 10 being the least important, that would be the guns. Like guns, I would say, are far less important than food or emergency medicine or like water or anything else really, or having like navigation. You know how to navigate, you know how to get around without freaking a GPS on your phone. Most people don't remember their way to work, or some people don't remember their way to work without plugging it in to their GPS. That's why your phone has an automatic work icon for your GPS and will give you a route automatically on your way to work. Like, yeah, guns are relatively low. Like, what are you going to do for backup power? What are you going to do about water or food storage after the grid has gone down? Most people are relying on freezers. How are you going to cook your food? There's a bunch of different things that. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I would say even below the guns is going to be your silver and Bitcoin people. And if I had a nickel for all of the people I know of, now Steve, my man Steve, had to correct me the other day, because I do know at least one or several who understand the hierarchy here. And if I had a nickel for all the Bitcoin people out there that think, oh, or the silver bug out there. Okay, if silver goes to $1,000 an ounce, do you know what kind of world you live in? Do you understand the world you live in for silver to be at $1,000 an ounce? I mean, granted, I got all these things, but they're not at the top of the doggone list, which brings me to the point that, when shelves are empty and the grid's down, your stash of silver coins, it ain't going to grow you a potato. It ain't going to purify water, and it ain't going to feed your livestock. So, son, when you go out and do a permaculture consultation to somebody, for somebody, what is one of the chief things you tell them to start with?
The first thing that I tell them to start with is put back 6 months worth of food for you and everybody who's going to show up at your house. So it might only be 4 people at your house right now, but the plan, the maybe talked about or maybe an unspoken plan, is that there's other family members or friends that are going to show up to your house in a time of like event or a time of crisis or something. So 6 months of food put back for everybody involved with the property. And the reason I say, and that's a good start. 6 months is by no means like your goal. It's just a start before you move on to the other projects on your homestead. And the reason for 6 months is anywhere within the United States. In the worst case scenario, that's how long you would have to wait for your first radish harvest, which is like still ain't happy. Like you're not eating like a king with your first radish harvest. Radishes grow very, very quickly. That's why I base it off a radish harvest, and they can grow in pretty cold environments compared to like other vegetables and whatnot. But yeah, 6 months of food, and then you move on.
Right. You don't when you're getting into this, folks, you don't start out with, oh, look at my Bitcoin stash, or look at I don't know of any prominent Bitcoiner that I know personally that is anywhere close to prepared regarding anything else. Even in the Bible, if you can buy a person's birthright for a bowl of soup, you think you can shake somebody down for all I'm not that kind of person, but I'm saying you're putting the cart before the horse in so many different ways. And I keep seeing and hearing this, whether it's on Twitter or otherwise. I got my Bitcoin, but these are people that don't have anything else in mind. So I feel the need to call out this prepper mindset where you're thinking you got to have vaults of gold, MREs, bug out bags. Yeah, you need all those things, but do you have skills? Because preparedness is a lifestyle. It's not a stockpile. Oh man, that ought to be on a shirt, man. What did I just say? Preparedness is a lifestyle. It's not a stockpile. Yeah. So you can go out here. Yeah, you can have all your MREs and all the other things put back. But if you don't know what to do with these two things at the end of your appendages, or if you don't know how to make your brain work in these kind of situations, silver ain't going to stop, or your Bitcoin isn't going to stop hunger, cold, or parasites, or any of the above. So, let's just keep it real here. If I had a nickel for all of the people, and like I said, I don't know any Bitcoiner that has a fair amount of food, if any at all. Let me give you an example. Martin Armstrong, considered probably, if not number one, maybe number one or number two most sought upon trends investors, forecasters on this planet. He is telling people right now, and has been for over the last year, every single person needs to have 2 years of food put back. That's what Martin Armstrong is telling everybody. And lately, he's been telling everybody, look, folks, it wouldn't shock me if there's a nuclear war at the end of August. This is Martin Armstrong, y'all. This is the guy that the central banks go to for advice, okay? And he's telling people out there, you better get your house in order. Well, that means having skills. And it ain't just having MREs. Yeah, it's good to have those things. Rice, beans. We showed you how to prep for 70 days on $100. I mean, it's probably not $100 anymore, but we did that video. And I think you get the point. But, you know, the false priorities of modern prepping are just so far out of whack, folks. And then idiot shows like that Doomsday Prepper show, where I knew people on that show and they took them completely out of context. They made them look like complete morons, you know, where they tell somebody, oh, I'm so-and-so and I'm preparing for, and then pick your disaster du jour, you know. It doesn't work that way. If you prepare for an EMP, you're prepared for pretty much everything, okay? That's basically that's my starting place. So, I mean, the silver, the gold, the crypto, look, man, they all have their place. But like William said, I place them even below the guns. I mean, if you're getting in a world where things are really going sideways, trust me, ammo is way more important than any of those things. And a lot of the people I know that have those things that focus primarily upon those things don't have the other half of the equation. You know, golden ammo without food and water is like half the plan. I mean, most prepping ignores, I mean, the way it's done, the popular way of doing it. I mean, it ignores the daily needs of the human body for the most part, son. I mean, they don't think about the calories. They don't think about water. They don't think about hygiene. They don't think about heat. They don't think about maintaining any of those things. Folks, do you know what killed more people in the Civil War than anything? What was it, 600? I mean, I'm going off the top of my head here. I want to guess. I think 620,000 died in the Civil War. That's more than all other wars combined. Maybe not anymore, but it used to be. I think it was 620,000 that died in the Civil War, somewhere thereabout. Okay, that's a whole lot of people. But do you know most of those people didn't die from bullet wounds? They died from dysentery. They died. I mean, if you read some of Sherman's memoirs, was it Sherman? Yeah, it was Sherman. He would talk about that you couldn't even hear the bugles in the morning over the cough of all the people in the camps at certain times. That's how bad it was. But you got Bitcoin, but you don't have Band-Aids. Son, anything you want to add to that part of it? I mean, I guess what I'm trying to point out here is that you got peanut butter, no jelly. You got ham, no burger.
I think it just goes back to like the reasoning behind somebody prepping. Some people view it as like a easy to get into type of community where they're basically LARPing. It's like I've noticed that there's this certain sect of guys that have never really done anything difficult with their life or really even tested the limits of their body, whether it be sports or maybe even the military or anything like super difficult, like, or even 75 hard. There's a group of guys that have never done that, but they love to LARP as like the military alpha male type guy. And they use this as a way to kind of fit themselves into a community. There's also the guys that have like a huge ego involved. And the reason they're trying to build like a mutual assistance group is so that they can kind of be maybe sort of in charge of something. It's the male version of the HOA leader. Like that's another reason people get into it. Some people just use it as an excuse to buy toys, like as an excuse to their spouse, whether it be their husband or wife, to buy toys. Most of the time, like I said before, like Tim Riley, he had a good point earlier. He's like, the women are the ones that I see at these festivals while their husbands are at home watching other people play a freaking game. You're watching other grown men pass around a ball. You're basically watching other grown men play catch. That's what you're doing. That's cuck behavior. Quit doing that. Like, we need to be men again. Put a priority on taking care of your own family, taking care of your family first, making sure that there is like a, enough food for your children, enough food for your wife, enough food for your family, just in case something happens. And it's not if something happens, it's when something happens. I'll put this out to any women who have trouble with their husbands not getting in line when it comes to preparedness, or they're actively going against your preparedness efforts or anything like that, bring them to Midwest Preparedness Conference this September, and I will talk to them. Don't get mad at me for the outcome, but I will have a conversation with your husband. Maybe we can put him through some sort of boot camp. Maybe we can waterboard him in Clinton Lake or something, but I'll do my best. It's infuriating now, especially now that I have like a wife and a child. It's infuriating that these people, you want me to watch somebody else play catch? That's gay.
No, I never understood it. I mean, for the longest time, I'm not saying that those things don't have a place. I mean, that you can't do those sorts of things. But if I had a nickel for all the women that have written to me saying, "Oh, hey, can you talk to my husband?" And sadly, the answer is no, I can't. I mean, he won't have any respect for me. I mean, he doesn't know me, and it's sad that that they have to reach out. And 9 times out of 10, it is the women. Now, there are some really good guys out there, and I know them. And but there's it seems to be, I agree with you, seems to be more women. So instead of focusing on Bitcoin or silver and gold and all those things, maybe ask yourself, what can you eat? And yeah, okay, let's say you got MREs. Well, you know what? You're going to run out. Do you have a resupply plan? Are you growing calorie-dense crops like, let's say, potatoes, squash, beans, corn, sweet potatoes, things that keep for a very, very, very long time? Even fruit, like that's why I love apples so much, because if you store them right, if you put them in the right conditions, man, you can keep them for a year, especially if you grow like things like Arkansas Black. I mean, at that point, I mean, you want to keep some of those trees around and some of these other things, but you have calorie crops out there. Do you have enough fat put back? I mean, shelf stable fat. You can get coconut oil, keeps forever in a day. Okay. Do you have some shelf stable fat that you could use? I mean, there's so many different ways you can go about it. You're getting way more calories per gram when you're putting back the fat. Everybody's thinking, I got beans and rice, but do you have fat? Yeah, you want to think about those things. How about livestock for regeneration and production? I mean, chickens, rabbits are really, really awesome. Sheep. I like sheep because from a tactical standpoint, they don't make anywhere near as much noise as a bunch of cows. So if things go sideways, you don't have some cattle rustlers out there I can hide them sheep up in a very, very awkward place for some would-be outlaws, that want to come in here and get what I have. And then maybe use your perennials and use all these things basically as you need them, and use your freeze-dried stuff, all the other things, use them as ways to buttress what you can't get. I mean, do you have rain catchment, gravity, Berkeley charcoal filters? I mean, you name it. Look, there are so many people that have half the equation out there, half of it. Do something very, very simple. Go turn off the power at your house. Hit that main switch and find out what happens. Okay, check out your generator backups and stuff like that. I got a lot more stuff here, son, but I'm going to kind of put bookends on this because I know we're running a little bit long, and plus we got that giveaway. But I want to also kick out some of these other skills because, man, you want one of the quickest ways to burn me up is when I would talk preparedness with guys and they'll say, well, I'll just go hunt. Oh, you're just going to go hunt, huh? Okay, well, have you ever spilled blood in your life, number one? Number two, can you even start a fire? Have you ever butchered anything? Because if you don't know what you're doing on any of those things, I mean, if you're going to wait until the thing jumps off and then you're going to figure out the learning curve, then I got news for you, Jack. You got problems, nephew.
Well, on that note, there's a guy at Kentucky Sustainable Living that confirmed exactly what you said, that you ain't going to hunt. His parents lived through the Depression, and he lived directly after the Depression. He was a kid then. And he was saying he lived in southern Missouri, like in the Ozarks. When you think the Ozarks, you think nature. There's like wildlife running everywhere. And he said that is not the case at all. During that time, there were no animals running around. There were no squirrels. There were no deer. If there was a deer spotted, then everybody in your clan or whatever kind of got together, hunted that deer. and then process it for everybody. Like hunting wasn't something you did. And any meat you had access to was literally just to flavor vegetables for the most part, because that's all you could really grow yourself, other than like the only protein they were getting were eggs. And this was a guy who lived through that period. And then he had dates for when the animals started coming back. Once like the economy started getting better, then people hunted less, and then animals started re-inhabiting like southern Missouri and the Ozarks. But keep in mind, like, no matter how well you plan, like, was it Hey Alabama had a good point earlier, is like, what do you know about dentistry? And that's kind of what I noticed during the Hurricane Helene event. Like, if there wasn't some sense of community or some sense of like a group working together, a lot more people would have died. And that's something that opened my eyes up to that. Like, I don't have the medical stuff down. I don't have communications down. Like, those are two big things that stood out to me then that I'm not good at. And it's not that you necessarily have to learn everything, but that's where the community comes into play. Each person can specialize in their own thing. Like, let's say you have some fanatic in your group that has a black thumb. They're not good at growing food. They're horrible at grazing. They're just bad at all the food systems, but they're really good at patching people up and like keeping infections clean and stitching people. Then maybe that's their role. And in exchange for their service, they kind of get helped out by the other people when it comes to food. You can't do this by yourself. You have to have a community.
Yeah, I totally agree there. But when it comes to things like the people say, I mean, and if I had a nickel in all the years of running in these circles where somebody would say, well, I'll just go hunting. And I'll say, well, have you ever been hunting? And then you can usually tell whether or not they're telling you the truth. But okay, let's say you did shoot that animal. Now what do you do? Okay, so you got to, have you ever gut and skinned anything? No, you ain't going to figure it out then, especially when you're already starving half to death. I mean, yeah, you may get some of it worked out. You know, how do you preserve that animal, especially when you don't have all the modern conveniences? Yeah, I know how to do that. William knows how to do that. And there's a number of other people out there that we've taught how to do that sort of thing. And then going back to what you said there, I mean, community, yeah, this isn't a one-man show for the most part, but also consider your health. That's why I'm talking about the off-grid things. Folks, I'm not a Pollyanna kind of guy. I'm a realist. I'm something of a historian, really. And I know what happens to societies that hit this level of depravity. And find me one example of any society that's ever corrected itself when it hit this level of depravity. You can't find one. You cannot find one in the modern age, guaranteed. Believe me, I've looked. So that's why I'm saying we need to try to do the best we can, despite being poisoned every day from the sky, by having strong immune systems. The best we can manage as many natural medicine modalities that we can bring together out there, and as many modern ones as we can paste into it. Waste management. That is a big one, folks. Toilets don't flush anymore. Do you have any idea what happened just in Asheville after the hurricane? They had what they call bucket brigades out here, where these people that were living in apartment buildings, they had no way to get water. So there were people gathering up water from the river with buckets to go into these places and just to flush the toilet for these old timers that were living in some of these places. That's in the modern age. Can you imagine if there was a power outage and you have no pump stations or anything like that for a serious period of time? Going back to the Civil War, how many people died of dysentery? Do you have any idea? That's why I'm covering these things. And the more the world gets more and more, into tech and everything, is the more I keep going backwards. I'll be honest with you. I really, really mean that. This is why I'm looking into the biohacking that really doesn't require a whole lot, or biohacking that I can do with items. Okay, so I got a pulse electric magnetic field mat. I got, red light panels. I got all these other things. But you know what? I got the sun and I got the outside too. But let's just say they're blocking things out to the point where I got to use those things. I use the natural means until I have another, unless I have to go to the backup. Like lately, they blocked out the sun for 2 days straight. So I've used the red light. That's not necessarily it's not giving me vitamin D, but it is working really well with my mitochondria. That's another thing altogether. And I'll be talking about some of those other things. But folks, that's exactly why I'm talking about those things. The grounding. your healing happens so much better when you are grounded. There's so many things that happen and work out better for you. So folks, this is why I keep going backwards, because I really, really, when I say backwards, I mean in terms of the more they push this reliance on technology, the more I recoil and I go backwards to the old ways that have been done. That's been my MO for the longest time now. And I can see, and honestly, my knee-jerk reaction is to do the polar opposite of what I see everybody else doing. It has served me extremely well. If I see everybody doing the very same thing, or they think this is what they ought to do, I'm going to do the very opposite. Every single time that's worked out well for me, especially in the modern era. I got other things here on the list that I wanted to talk about, but I know we're getting long in the tooth. So, look, we're coming to I'm going to kind of pull it right there because we probably covered a lot right here. We're hour and 15 into this, and we still got a giveaway to do. So, son, do you have
real quick? I got the episode that we talked about the predictions for 2025. It's episode 299. Episode 299. Should you be concerned in 2025? It was on March 7th.
That was episode what again?
299.
Well, I'm glad you could find it. Yeah. Anyway, those were my predictions. Episode 299, as William says. All right. So, son, do you have a trivia question you'd like to put out there? We are going to give away right now a 5-acre box of the Soil Savior product. So, everybody get your thinking caps on order, and the first name I see pop up with the right answer is going to win. So it's about a $400 product, and we're going to be giving it away tonight. So, son, do you have a question you'd like to ask?
I do. You want me to go ahead and ask it?
Fire away. And then the first name that gets it right, I'm going to let you know.
All right. What is the third ethic of permaculture? What is the third ethic of permaculture?
All right. Da, 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 da.
We got a comment down below to answer.
Yep.
Tim Riley.
Tim Riley. All right. You just won.
Abundance back to the previous two.
Yep. So, Tim, email me, billy@permapasturesfarm.com, and we're going to get you squared away, my man. So you'll have to send me your, email me your address and obviously your name, and billy@permapasturesfarm.com. And we'll make sure we get this thing on the first thing smoking. Hopefully we got, oh no, somebody didn't just put in fair share.
What?
Yeah, I don't know if they're messing with us or not. Yeah, I know some people say fair share, but no, we're going to go with abundance given to the previous two. So earth care, number one, people care, and abundance given to the previous two. I'm not a big fan of fair share because it implies communism. So we're not going to say fair share. We're going to say abundance given to the previous two because that makes more sense to me. And I think to my son as well. So, son, anything else you want to leave folks with out there?
I mean, not much. Just like, okay, so with everything going on, the worst thing you can do is panic and like get emotional about it and start panic prepping and stuff like that. That's usually a very, very inefficient way and form of prepping. Take it slow, step by step, methodically. Like try to incorporate it into your life instead of it being like a one solid effort. Like it should just be like a lifestyle adjustment as opposed to like I'm going to spend this week preparing and then off for like another month and a half or so, and then another week. It's just try to incorporate. Like if you're going to the grocery store, maybe buy double of the stuff that like double of the things that will store well. Maybe as you can afford it, then maybe you invest in some like larger bulk items on Azure Standard that you can like store yourself and put in Mylar bags and 5-gallon buckets. Remember, the cheapest way to go about it, the cheapest way to go about it is to store what you grow yourself. The most expensive way to go about preparing is buying a bunch of store-bought like freeze-dried food or the prepare buckets or prepper buckets or anything like that.
Yeah.
That's the most expensive way to go about it. But make a list of what you're good at, and also make a list of what you're like lacking, and then some things that you're kind of iffy about. Like getting it on a board or on a piece of paper kind of helps you go about tackling and making a priority list on what you need to learn next and what you need to know after that and after that.
Yeah, that's a really good place to start. When you get down to brass tacks on so much of this stuff, we've been at this a long, long time, but I know a lot of people are just coming out of the matrix right now. And don't kick yourself. Look, if I were coming out of the matrix right now and I was just realizing, oh snap, things are a little bit weird, I probably ought to be putting some things back. I would go back and watch that video we did on how to prep yourself for 70 some days with $100. And if it means getting beans and rice and putting them in Mylar bags and putting them in 5-gallon buckets, that's a really good place to start. Buying some, get plenty of good salt. And I mean really good salt, not that iodized garbage from the store, because that salt could also be the way you get your minerals to a certain extent as well. So that's why I'm a big believer in high quality salt. So, whether it's Baja Gold, some people like that, some people like Redmond, some people like Celtic Sea salt. I use Dr. Will's salt that he gets from Guatemala, which to me is the best tasting salt out there. And plus it has a mineral profile that can serve you in so many awesome different ways. So folks, that's what I'm getting at. Start very, very simple. If you're thinking, okay, I got to get this garden off and running. No, first thing you need to do, because it may jump off long before your garden goes off, go out there, get yourself beans and rice. You can go to Sam's Club. You can get this stuff relatively cheap, get some condiments. You'd be shocked at how long you could feed yourself on $100. Dead serious. Or do other things like we used to do. Just buy a few extra canned goods. Extra, you're not going to eat them. You're just going to put them back, and then you rotate them in and out. Things like that. If you can, there's plenty of videos online to show you how to can. My mother-in-law taught me how to can. There's so many different ways. I mean, just start where you are. First thing you do right out of the matrix, just start with the basics. Just do one thing. And then, you go from there. But honestly, there's so many things. Starting with Bitcoin is absolutely retarded. Starting with silver and gold is the dumbest thing you can do. I don't care. I will argue with anybody on that. And in fact, I can prove it. It is the absolute stupidest thing you can do is going out there. You get yourself prepared to eat and have potable water long before you worry about those things. So even if it means you need to extract a little bit of your silver or gold to go out there and get food, that's what I would do. But it's totally up to you, folks. The reason why I thought this show was important is because, once again, I don't know, spent maybe a little too much time on X day before yesterday, I guess. And I see some of these people in these circles, and all they want to talk about is their Bitcoin. And you ask them, okay, do you have any food? And then crickets. So I'm like, okay, we got to cover this. So, folks, hopefully that was a blessing to you. Look, I know the show went a little bit long, but I want to thank everybody for all your support. Thank you so much. Until next time, stay alert.
Stay alive.
Roots that run deep, wisdom from soul, burn across the stream. Let the ideas unfold. I'm moving with the truth. Feeling nature's good. Who's got the answers? All we need to do, listen to the earth, they got us through. Let's see the change, watch the world spin. From the smallest sprout to the harmony begin. In the cycle of life, where the magic's alive. Tune it to the